and welcome back to the channel. Today, we're diving back into one of the most heart-wrenching and beautiful moments in the story. Get ready, because this one is a real emotional roller coaster. It all starts in the 10-mile peach blossom forest. A Titsy by Qian, beautiful as ever, deliberately lets herself fall from a peach tree. As if on instinct, the moment he hears the sound, the hua flies forward, catching her in a perfect, graceful embrace. And then, their eyes meet. For the hua, time itself seems to stop. Staring back at him is a face identical to Susu, the woman he has loved and lost. The woman who haunts his every waking moment and his dreams. His heart, his mind, his entire world is suddenly filled with her. He's completely captivated, frozen in this surreal moment. Under the influence of the peach blossom wine, Qian feels an undeniable pull towards this handsome stranger in black robes. She leans in, almost closing the distance between them. But a flicker of her usual divine clarity holds her back at the last second. In that moment of hesitation, she pulls away. By the time the hua snaps out of his trance, the woman in his arms has vanished, leaving only the scent of peach blossoms behind. He's left alone, utterly bewildered. Was she real?
Was it just an illusion born from his desperate longing?
He runs frantically through the peach forest, calling out Susu's name over and over again, his voice filled with a heartbreaking mix of hope and despair. He couldn't tell if he just lived a miracle or if his mind is finally breaking from the weight of his grief. Meanwhile, Qian wakes up the next day, back at Jian's place, nestled among the peach blossoms. The sun is shining, and she has a hazy memory of the night before. She believes the entire encounter was just a dream, a figment of her wine-addled imagination. She can't help but chuckle at herself. Her, the revered high goddess Qian of Qingku, flirting so brazenly with some handsome young man in a dream. She feels it's quite unbecoming of her esteemed status, and a little bit embarrassing. Shaking her head with a self-deprecating smile, she bids farewell to the old phoenix and begins her leisurely journey toward the ECC for the Water King's banquet.
She's completely unaware that her dream was very, very real.
And that she's just turned crown prince, the Hua's world, completely upside down. As Qian arrives at the coast of the East Sea, she comes across a princess, who we learn is Princess Greensleeves, along with her entourage. Not wanting to make a grand entrance or reveal her true, formidable identity, Qian simply approaches them as if she were a minor fairy from some forgotten land. She politely asks for directions to the Crystal Palace, maintaining a low profile. This decision, however, leads to a rather amusing and irritating little incident. While waiting, she overhears the maids of Princess Greensleeves gossiping amongst themselves.
And who are they gossiping about?
None other than the mysterious high goddess of Qingku, Qian herself. Not knowing that the very subject of their chatter is standing right there, they start speculating wildly. They call her an old woman, an ancient relic who has been holed up in her fox den for so long that no one has even seen her face. Qian is, of course, inwardly fuming. An old woman. Her. The audacity. But then, a moment of self-reflection hits her. Can she really blame them? She has spent tens of thousands of years in seclusion in Qingku, rarely venturing out into the celestial world. It's hardly surprising that these younger,
uninformed fairies who have never laid eyes on her would create such unflattering and imaginative stories.
It's a classic case of legends becoming distorted over time. Still, it stings her pride just a little bit, and sets a rather interesting tone for her grand entrance into the high society of the realms after so long. She's about to show them all just how wrong they are. Arriving at the East China Sea Palace, it was still some time before the banquet. Qian felt bored among the crowd of immortals, and wanted to find a deserted place to rest. After searching for a long time, she still couldn't find a suitable place. When she was about to return to the main hall, she happened to have lost the branch. With no other choice, Qian had to walk as she went. After walking for dozens of steps, Qian almost bumped into a little guy who looked very immortal. Bai Qian thought that this must be the son of an immortal. Bai Qian saw that the boy was pulling weeds with great effort, so she gave him the broken cloud fan in her hand and said to the little guy, "Use this. It will save you more effort." Bai Qian had no idea that this chubby little creature was none other than the young grandson of the heavenly palace, the Hua's son, Ali. Ali was already an immortal, and the broken cloud fan held considerable power in his hands. With a single flick, Ali blew away all the seaweed clinging to the corals, sending a sudden, violent gust of wind blazing through the dim crystal palace. Bai Qian couldn't stand the bright light, but the white silk shielding made by the Fox Emperor appeared just in time to shield her eyes. Ali, startled by his own fan, considered turning back to Bai Qian for help, but instead saw Bai Qian, who looked like the mother in his father's painting. Ali simply hugged Bai Qian, crying out heartbreakingly, "Mother, Mother, why did you abandon me? And my father?" Bai Qian was completely bewildered by Ali's cry. The Hua, who came following Ali's voice, saw Bai Qian's eyes covered with white silk. She was like Su reborn. He was also stunned. He walked forward quickly and called Su. When he was moved, the Hua reached out to touch his wife, whom he had been thinking about for 300 years. Bai Qian hid the white silk from her eyes and scolded the Hua for being rude. The Hua came to his senses and realized that if it was Su, she would not be so anxious and stern. After all, the person in front of him was not Su. The Hua felt very disappointed and walked away with Ali, who was reluctant to leave Bai Qian. Bai Qian finally got rid of the Hua and his son, and was about to take a breath when she turned around and happened to run into Xiaoxin, who came to look for her. For hundreds of years, Letho Bai Qian had no good feelings toward Sangji. Xiaoxin had made herself a laughingstock in the world, and because of them, she was engaged to the Hua, who should call her ancestor. Whenever Bai Qian thought of this, she was furious.
Bai Qian even wanted to gently wave the broken cloud fan in her hand, maybe to send Xiaoxin back to the North Sea.
But looking at her big belly, Bai Qian couldn't bear to do so. Xiaoxin knelt in front of Bai Qian, saying that she felt the power of the broken cloud fan, and thought that maybe her aunt had come. At this point, Xiaoxin's bright eyes were filled with tears. This look made Bai Qian really unable to hate her. Xiaoxin said sadly, Aunt had never met Sangji, and had said she didn't like him. Aunt had broken off the engagement because there were better ones. Now, Crown Prince the Hua was 1,000 times better than Sangji. Aunt would not be happy marrying Sangji. Xiaoxin had always believed that Aunt was the most righteous deity in the world. Without Sangji, Xiaoxin would have nothing. Bai Qian listened to Xiaoxin's words, habitually tapping the table with her middle and ring fingers, and occasionally holding the broken cloud fan to her nose to sniff. These were small, casual gestures, but they were all seen by the Hua, who was not far away. The scar on Bai Qian's right hand when she picked up the fan deeply touched the Hua. Every move of this woman before him was clearly Su. If these small gestures could be said to be coincidence, then how could the scar on her arm, which was similar to Su's, be fake? After hearing the conversation between Bai Qian and Xiaoxin, the Hua finally realized that the person in front of him was not someone else, but Bai Qian from Qingku, with whom he was engaged. Not only that, it also made the Hua more convinced that she was Su. However, the past events between them made the Hua confused for a while. But no matter whether Bai Qian was pretending to deny him, or she had really forgotten him, it didn't matter to the Hua. What mattered was that Su was still alive. No, not Su, but Bai Qian. The Bai Qian who had a marriage contract with him. She was not someone else, but the wife he had been thinking about day and night. The Hua called out to Xiaoxin, affectionately, which frightened Bai Qian. Although she knew she had been engaged to the Crown Prince the Hua, she was still a little overwhelmed by their affectionate embrace on their first meeting. Bai Qian gave Xiaoxin her broken cloud fan. After all, they were still master and servant. Bai Qian told Xiaoxin to grant her one wish. She told her to come to Qingku and find her when she wanted something. With the broken cloud fan, Migu and the others wouldn't stop her. The Hua ignored the looks of others and took Bai Qian's hand to sit at the table. Elise stayed close to Bai Qian, unwilling to leave for a moment. Bai Qian almost felt that she had really abandoned her husband and children in the past 300 years when she kept calling her mother. The adorable family reunion.
Now, let's see. What happens when another contender enters the ring for the Hua's affection?
So, picture this. Princess Miao Qing of the East Sea, on her brother's advice, decides to pull out all the stops. She gets dolled up, looking like a dream, and performs an exquisite dance right in front of Crown Prince, the Hua. Her goal?
To capture his heart, or at least his attention.
But there's a tiny, or rather, a huge problem. The Hui's heart and eyes are already completely full. There's only one person he sees, and that's Bai Qian. For him, everyone else might as well be invisible. After her performance, which frankly fell on blind eyes, the king of the East Sea, Ever, the supportive brother, practically begs the Hua to go have a private chat with his sister. Miao Kinga, Fua. Ever the diplomat finds it hard to refuse a host's request. He turns to Bai Qian and says, "Take good care of Ali. I'll be right back." He's calm, cool, and collected, but Bai Qian's mind is racing. She misreads the entire situation. All she can think is, "Oh no, he's really trying to take me back to the heavenly palace. This is my chance to escape." Her plan is simple. Find the Hua, hand Ali back, and make a run for the freedom of Qian. But just as she's about to make her move, little Ali, with his uncanny ability to sense impending doom, bursts into tears. And not just a few sniffles, we're talking full-on, heart-wrenching sobs. He looks up at Bai Qian, his big eyes filled with tears, and wails, "My father is going to get a new wife, and my mother is going to get a new husband. I'm going to be an unwanted child." Oh, the drama. It's enough to break anyone's heart. And Bai Qian, despite her goddess status and tough exterior, is a woman, after all. That maternal instinct kicks in hard, seeing this tiny, pitiful ball of cuteness crying his eyes out. How could she possibly say no? She immediately kneels down and pulls him into a hug. To soothe him, she starts cooing these incredibly sweet words. "How could I ever leave you? Your father is my baby, my sweetheart, my everything. Since you call me mother, I'm not going anywhere." She probably didn't mean for anyone else to hear it, but these words were pure magic to Ali's ears. Instantly, the tears stop. Ali, feeling reassured, takes his mother's hand, ready to lead the way. With Ali as her guide,
Bai Qian sets off to find the Hua. And find him they do.
they turn a corner and see a scene straight out of a play. There's Princess Miao Qing, her face a mask of delicate sorrow, tears glistening in her eyes as she pleads with the Hua about something. The Hua, on the other hand, looks like he'd rather be anywhere else. His face is a perfect picture of impatience and polite tolerance. The moment he spots Bai Qian and Ali approaching, his entire demeanor changes. It's like the sun just came out. Relief washes over his face, and he immediately starts walking towards them, leaving a heartbroken princess in his wake. And this is where little Ali proves he's not just a cute face. He's a master wingman, with perfect timing and a clear, loud voice. He repeats the sweet nothings Bai Qian had just whispered to him. Mother said you are her baby, her sweetheart, her everything. The whole world seems to stop for a second. The Hua freezes, and a slow, beautiful smile spreads across his face. It's a genuine, heart-stopping smile that we rarely get to see. He steps forward, blocking Bai Qian's path, leans in just a little, and asks, in a low, husky voice, "Did you mean it?" Bai Qian is completely mortified. She realizes the Hua is totally using her in her own words to fend off Miao Qing. She thinks, what have I ever done to deserve this? She's so embarrassed she can't even manage a proper smile. But she's trapped. She has to play along, or it will be even more awkward for everyone. So, She mumbles something affirmative, trying her best to look like a loving partner caught in a sweet, private moment. To any outsider, they look like a couple, just having a little flirtatious banter. Seeing her chance, the second the Hua is distracted by his own victory, by Qian bolts, she literally turns and runs. "Mother?" Ali shouts, about to chase after her. But the Hua, cool as a cucumber, puts a hand on his son's shoulder. With a look of smug confidence, he says, "Don't worry, Ali. I know exactly where to find our mother." And with that, the hunt is on, once again. What a roller coaster. I don't know about you, but I am living for these moments. The chemistry, the misunderstandings, the absolute adorableness of Elite's just perfect.
What do you think the Hua will do next?
And how will Bai Qian react when he finds her? Let me know your theories in the comments below. Thanks so much for watching with me today. If you enjoyed this breakdown, please hit that like button, subscribe for more, and ring that bell so you never miss an update. See you next time!